car scammers are using websites like Facebook to con tens of thousands of pounds out of people, like you and me.
Got scammed £10,000.
He got scammed 25 grand and got arrested for attempted murder.
For 105,000.
More than 10,000 adverts on Facebook are scams, meaning the chances of getting scammed when buying your next motor is quite likely. Like you, I always thought, how do people fall for that? Well, today I did, and my God, it was a costly mistake. In 2023, people like you and me have lost over £500,000 due to car scams.
It's gone. It's all gone.
And that's from only one bank and only on the Facebook platform. That's an increase of a massive 93% in only 1 year. As the fraudsters become more and more profitable, the number of scams found online is rocketing. The way these adverts prey against these victims is mainly through one tactic: price. The scammers find a real car for sale and post the same ad on another platform for a fraction of the price. It's that simple. Then they repeat the process hundreds of times. Then they sit back and wait for a bite. And this is the exact scam that I fell for, but we'll get onto that a little bit later. To you, this may look obvious, and you may be able to identify from a mile away that listings like these are a scam. But we wanted to find out how many people actually fall for these too good to be true listings. Right, let's make us a fake advert. So we're going to use this beautiful Fiat 500, which I found on Auto Trader. It's 283 miles away, so hopefully they're not going to knock on our door tonight. It's a Cat N, 13,000 miles, and it's a 69 plate. £8,750 they're selling theirs for. Now ours is going to be a little bit better than this one because it's no longer going to be a Cat N, and I reckon what, half price? Yeah. 4.5 grand, bargain. We just copy over the details from the real advert, copy and paste the description, add a few bits of extra spec, heated steering wheel and lovely cruise control, and within a few minutes we have made a completely fake advert of somebody else's car. It was straight up for the world to see. We were even able to spend £7 to boost the advert. No questions asked. And we are live. Right, we'll leave that for a few hours and see how many people send us a message to see if they want to buy and send a deposit for our beautiful half-price car. We checked to see how many dodgy adverts were out there right now on Marketplace, and within 5 minutes we had found 7 adverts, 7 on Facebook Marketplace. They're all the same template and they're all obviously the same guy. All cars which are super cheap and are obviously fake. It's mad. If you think this scam is ridiculous, this is just the tip of the iceberg to what we found out in the last few days. The world is getting to be a dangerous place. The worst part about falling for these scams, it's the horrific impact that this has on normal people's lives.
My world was crumbling down around me and I didn't know what I was going to do.
Cars are usually the second biggest purchase that we make in our lives. So when the scammers strike, it can be a massive impact to us financially, especially when a lot of the time that money is borrowed. Usually your insurance doesn't cover you for theft by deception. So that means if you get scammed, it's your problem. So you have no car, but you still have to keep up the repayments, even when the car is gone. Less than 10 minutes after our fake advert had gone live, we already had a hit.
That literally took a couple minutes.
And after a few more minutes of negotiations, our unsuspecting victim was ready to send us a deposit. This is disgusting. Facebook, you need to get your heads around this and sort of find a way of seeing who's copying this format, because this is bad. People are losing thousands of pounds daily. So how do scammers get the money out of their victims? Just like we did in our example advert, they ask you for a deposit. They then pretend there's lots of interest in that car and they're about to sell the car to somebody else. So then you rush to send them a deposit to a car that doesn't even exist. And sometimes that can be thousands of pounds. And this is exactly the tactics which they used on me. And I just didn't see it coming. To understand how common this is, I reached out on Instagram to share your stories. And sadly, there is a lot of followers who had fell for these clever tactics. This is James. He is 21 years old and was trying to buy a Range Rover Sport.
I was looking and I found this one and it was like a little bit cheaper than the rest, but not too much to be like, you know, that's a bit dodgy.
Yeah.
I could hear kids in the background on the phone saying like nanny and stuff like that.
So sounds like a real person who wouldn't be a scam.
She's basically this garage has said to her they're going to come pick it up on Saturday. So I said, tell you what, I took the day off work, I'll come down Friday with the money. she's like, oh, you're going to have to pay a deposit if you want to beat them. And I was like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No, I said, do you know what? I want the car, so that send them. Yeah, so I'm there. I paid $4.5 grand, and I knocked on the door, and I said to the lady, I said, I'm here for the Range Rover. And she was like, oh no. And she was like, you've been scammed.
Oh.
Like, she said, no, seriously. She said, I've had 4 people this morning. When the other guy was there, another guy turned up, and he paid $6 grand.
So that's now 6 people.
All paying in the thousands. I mean, the minimum was $2.5 grand. So they easily made 40,000 in a day.
That's an alarming example of how many people fell for just that one scam, but it gets worse. Let's get back to our fake advert and see how many people we could have scammed. 26 messages, and that's on our one listing alone. So if you multiply that by, we already know there's tens of thousands of scam listings on Facebook right now, then this is serious numbers. It says from the stats that there's £500,000 worth of fraudulent money being gained out of these listings in 2023, but no way. From what we've seen today, it must be way more than that. These guys, if they can get a couple of people hooked in only one day, they are making some serious cash. I think we can all agree that this was super easy and free to set up this trap, but maybe like me you think you could tell if this wasn't real. Well, I thought I was streetwise, but I fell for a scam, and a big one. And it all started with this, my Porsche GT3 RS. It is one of the most amazing cars I have ever seen, although it was quite difficult to buy.
I was wanting to buy a new GT3 RS, please.
Have you bought enough cars?
Eventually though, after a 3-part series, I managed to get one. We are getting a GT3 RS, and everybody loved it.
It's beautiful.
It's mad, isn't it?
It's ridiculous.
Oh, it's just something else, isn't it? You know I don't like Porsches, but this is... This is? Oh, it's so nice.
But this is a lot better than Matt's.
Yeah, this is way
so much better than Matt's.
But there is a major problem. Simple supply and demand issues have seen these cars sitting at an unrealistic inflated price. Now these cars are fetching as much as £150,000 over what that car was originally bought for. But now these cars are down to £310,000. That's serious chunks of money they are dropping, which of course is a worry, a big worry. So when Lewis called me to say he had a way out for me, I jumped at the chance. Yeah.
I've actually got a customer very interested in that specific car, so I would like to offer you your money back for the car.
Cheers, Lewis. Thanks a lot. Bye. Bye. Trouble is, now I have an itch for the amazing GT3 RS. So I started looking for a car which wouldn't lose money and hopefully a sound appreciating investment. So we went back to my own advice about buying a limited edition car around 15 years old. Now, if you missed that video, you can go back and watch it after this one. And I think I have found the perfect car. Let me introduce the 997 GT3 RS, a classic model that's got all the raw magic. And because of its older age, it's sitting in the perfect window to potentially make a sound investment. To make sure this was a wise decision, I asked some of my friends what they thought of it.
Right, I'm a Porsche man. You guys and the people at home probably know that. Amazing car, amazing car.
Best car in the world. Amazing car. I mean, it's been a dream to drive one, but unfortunately I've not had the opportunity just yet.
To seal the deal, I asked Ben Collins, the ex-Stig from one of my favourite TV shows, Top Gear. And of course, he ragged this car within an inch of its life.
Porsche 997 GT3 RS, wonderful car. Nearly as good as the GT2 RS. The problem being, when you've driven the GT2...
Yeah, thanks for ruining this section, Ben. And the GT2 RS is a little bit out of our budget. So with nearly everyone on board, we set about getting this car. So I found this company in America. They have some beautiful cars. Oldest Enterprises in Texas, but check this out. 2 Bugatti Chirons. 2. We'll look at Rolls-Royce Wraith. That's much better than yours, Matt. Some beautiful Lamborghinis STO.
Please don't buy any more, Daddy. It gives me a headache.
Why do I give you a headache?
Because you buy too many cars.
All right, go play outside with you. More importantly, they have this, the Porsche GT3 RS 2011. There she is. Now, what's really good about this car, it's only done 965 miles from new. And I think, because of the American market, I think this car is a bargain. Let me explain why. The main reason for that is because this car is undervalued in America compared to Europe, which is exactly the same thing which happened to my 2 Carrera GTs, and that's why we made some money all the way back then. And I think we've got the same opportunity right now. When I bought these 2 Carrera GTs, I took a hell of a lot of precautions to make sure that I didn't get scammed. But as you're about to see with a much busier schedule, I let my guard down, and this would turn out to be a huge mistake. So we're going to go through this whole process of hopefully buying this car from over in America. First of all, we'll send him an email now and just find out a little bit more about the backstory and the condition of the car. And so the journey begins. Exciting. But little did I know at this time, sometimes you just need to sit back and slow down. So whilst we're waiting to hear back from Alderson Enterprises, I'm going to cook my family a meal.
Why the fire extinguishers?
Gonna need an insurance claim in a minute.
If you are as busy as me, let HelloFresh handle the meal prep. It arrives at your door and there is zero waste because everything is pre-portioned. I'll be honest, this isn't our usual job, but HelloFresh say it's that easy, even we can do it.
Yeah.
Tonight we're going to be cooking sticky honey beef rice bowl. And hopefully it's going to look a little bit like that. And before we got cooking, we had already heard back from the seller, Alderson Enterprises. Bad news, he had told us there were 2 other people interested in the car and we wouldn't know if it was still available for a couple of days. So we got back to the cooking. Enjoy delicious meals without breaking the bank. Starting at just £3.15 per serving, HelloFresh have got tasty meals covered on a friendly budget. There's lots of different recipe choices which cater for every different dietary preferences. There's even vegan options for all you Tesla drivers. After following the step-by-step recipe, dinner was soon served. There we go, that was easy. Looks good. Smells good. Good?
No.
That's good.
You like it?
Daddy do alright? Using my discount code, you can get 60% off your first box and free desserts for life. You can use a link in the description or you can scan the QR code here.
Other side.
Or here. Thank you HelloFresh for sponsoring this video, and after we'd all smashed a very healthy and delicious meal, we headed off to bed hoping to hear back from the salesman, Ken Hoffman. Good morning, it's Monday. It's raining outside, but it's sunny in here. We've heard back from Ken and the GT3 RS is still for sale, which is the right result. Sent us loads and loads of pictures. Along with some very nice photos, he had sent a walk around video including a cold start.
As you can see, the engine is cold. It hasn't been started yet.
And oh my God, listen to the sound of this. So let's not waste any time. I'm going to reply to Ken. I'm going to ask him for the VIN number and just to make sure this has a full Porsche service history. We soon heard back and he had sent a VIN number which we checked out on Car Vertical. It was perfect. He also sent a Carfax report which looks legit. So I didn't want to waste any more time, so I went straight in with an offer to try and get a bit of a discount. Right, hopefully Ken will reply today and we can get this moving forward before it's too late.
GT3.
GT3, one which doesn't lose money. Whilst we're waiting for Ken to get back to us, I wanted to share some of the stories from our Instagram request. Now hopefully you are sat down because Tom's story is incredible. He was after a very beautiful Mercedes C63.
Went to this car dealership, it was a beautiful day. So anyway, went ahead, bought this car. So I then drove into the service station for a quick toilet break. And then as I'm driving out, coming down this slip road, as I looked down, I had 6 red dots on me. And I thought they were like flies or something, so I tried to hit these things off. As I look up there was 2 BMW X5s with coppers out the back windows pointing guns at me.
You've just bought the car?
I had it 17 minutes.
17 minutes?
17. And they said, you're for attempted murder because they'd done an armed robbery on a jeweller's night before in Birmingham and shot someone. They read me out about 17 different charges. They kept me in custody for about 4 or 5 hours and then realised it wasn't me. And then I remember standing on the end of this train station, filling up with tears, thinking I just lost 25 grand.
A perfectly innocent purchase, and your whole world is turned upside down in a split second. So as we mentioned before, this car is in America, and some of you may be wondering how much it would cost to get that car back to the UK. So before we carry on with this deal, let's find out. What sort of money would that be to get that back to the UK?
Get that back tested, registered, shipped and insured in its own container, give or take 4, I guess. Somewhere like that.
So that's £4,000 shipping, but also some imported cars need modifications to make them road legal here in the UK.
Yeah, just a pair of UK spec lights, they're not too bad, I don't think, on that.
This is getting really good. So we've got our car cost, about £200,000, indicators, £1,000, shipping, £4,000, import duty, 10%, £20,000, VAT, £40,000, total cost of £265,000. Now, a couple of things which we need to remember is that I reckon is 100 grand cheaper than what we can buy one in the UK. So if we had have got this right, this could have been a fantastic moneymaker. And eventually, after another day, we heard back from the salesman Ken Hoffman at Alderson Enterprises. No, he won't budge. Price fixed. He's saying he's got 3 more people interested, so fair enough. It's cheap anyway, it's the right money. Still going to go for it.
GT3.
GT3. Hopefully a great investment. GT3. We then had an email back asking for a 10% deposit, and I knew $25,000 is a serious amount of money to send to a man I've never met and for a car that I've never seen. So I went for a second opinion just to make sure that this car was the best chance of a sound investment. This is Ian, one of the directors of the Porsche Club. He knows these cars throughout the decades inside out. So if he gives me the green light, then we are good to go on this classic 997 GT3 RS. So the next morning, we headed over to Ian to see exactly what he thought of my car.
GT3. Hi, Mark. How you doing? You alright? Well, you found yourself a gem of a car here. I've done my homework since we spoke, and I have to say, I don't know how you found it. It is the 4 litre, it's got everything that you could ask it.
Ian had done some great research on the actual car itself, but there was a catch, which was terrifying.
So Mark, you've asked him for a cold start video, and he sent you the video.
Yeah. As you can see, the engine is cold, it hasn't been started yet.
That's Ken speaking.
Yeah. But next...
No one's speaking.
So that's the same video?
Yeah.
Ian had reverse image searched the main picture on the listing, and he found the original source, Max Power Motors. These were the exact same pictures that Ken was using. So that's an old photo then?
Yeah, 12 months ago this was put up and sold by Max Power Motors.
Right, so, but how do you know that's my car?
Because it's 529.
And when we cross-referenced the pictures that Ken had sent us, it's the same car. And that walk-around video wasn't his. He had downloaded it from Max Power Motors' YouTube channel, which was actually uploaded a year ago. And back then it sold for $700,000, which is nearly 3 times what Ken is asking for it now.
Why is Ken selling the car a year later and at a deflated price?
The evidence was clear, but I was blinded by the deal and I didn't want to believe it. Maybe the economy? What about if he doesn't know this is a 4 litre? I was coming up with every excuse to why there could be a simple explanation. So Ian, he did some more digging. If you look at Ken's details, there's the address of where the dealership is.
Okay.
On Google, the dealership actually exists, including a review. 5-star, happy days.
Yeah, but Mark, 2 weeks ago, 1 review for a dealership.
And strangely, the car dealership even shows up on the maps.
It's a Cadillac dealership.
I'll tell you, let's search Ken, let's see who Ken is.
Okay.
And after a bit more digging, we found Ken Hoffman on LinkedIn. There we go. Alderson Enterprises. He does work there.
Yeah, he worked there for 5 years, but he left in 21.
Well, where's he work now?
A Chevrolet dealership in Lubbock.
This Chevrolet dealership is located only 40 minutes away from the Alderson Enterprises dealership. And what also doesn't make sense is why Alderson Enterprises doesn't show up on Google Maps. Until we realised you could go back in time on Google Street View at the address which Alderson is registered to. Alderson? It is there. So we're thinking the guy I'm speaking to isn't this guy?
No.
So to recap, what we have discovered is Alderson Enterprises was a real dealership and Ken Hoffman did work there, but we now know it closed 3 years ago. So we think fake Ken has brought this dealership back to life. So this has U-turned from buying a dream investment car to maybe discovering one of the biggest supercar scam websites in the world, listing over £80 million worth of exotic cars. I'm still not 100% sure this is still an accusation. Let's get some real hard facts. Let's speak to the real Ken Hoffman, just to make sure that this is 100% a really, really big, massive scam. This bastard nearly had $25,000 of mine. So using the real Ken's LinkedIn page, we called up the dealership he currently works at.
Thank you for calling Leveland Chevrolet. This is Kim. How may I help you?
Ken Hoffman, please.
Okay.
This is Ken. Thank you for holding.
Hi Ken, my name's Mark. We think somebody's been stealing your identity.
For car sales?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so you're aware of it. Okay.
And you should pick my name of all people.
Yeah. You must have been a good car salesman.
I was in finance most of the time, so I didn't really even sell cars. So I just did the paperwork.
Because you used to work at Alderson, didn't you? At the Alderson Enterprises.
Correct, although that it was sold in October of 2021. So from what my manager told me, a police officer investigating this in Florida called.
Do you think the police have been onto you because somebody's been scammed?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So, devastatingly, someone from Florida has already fallen victim to this exact scam website. Fake Ken, what a cheeky bastard. If you think, Reese, go back to the very start when we tried to inquire about this car. Now, he left us waiting for 2 days telling us that there was somebody else interested in the car. The absolute genius fraudster. And then thinking back now as well, obviously he said to us he wouldn't take a deal. He wouldn't take $240,000. He wouldn't take $240,000 because it makes us believe even more that it's real. But that poor person who sent that money in Florida, God, I hope it was only a deposit and it wasn't a full amount for a car. But if you think about it, that was nearly me. I nearly sent him $25,400. So close. Thank you, Ian, for saving me. But right, ready?
Let's confront the fake Ken.
Fake Ken, we are coming for you. Oh God, what's he going to say? I hope he doesn't just put the phone down. Jesus, I'm nervous. Ready?
Yep.
Alderson Enterprise, this is Ken. How can I help you?
Hi Ken, it's Mark calling from England. You okay?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you, sir?
Yeah, thanks for everything so far.
Sure.
Is it possible to do a FaceTime call?
No. As I said, for personal reasons, we don't. I can't do a FaceTime call.
What an a**hole. As soon as we asked to see his face, he shuts us straight down. And the lies just kept coming. But to be fair, he could sound believable. Is the car there now to FaceTime the car? I understand that you, for personal reasons yourself, but what about the car?
I know, but it's our policy. We don't do video calls.
I'm still a little bit nervous about sending you the money, obviously not seeing the car or anything. You know, I see on the website 27 years and I see you do a lot of work with charities, which is great.
Yes, we do, Ben. But if you don't feel comfortable buying a car over the internet, you are more than welcome to visit us. We can go on a plane.
So now the time has come. We finally get to confront this dirty, dirty scammer. Right, so we're an investigation team from the UK and we know that we spoke to the real Ken Hoffman. So Ken, we know that you're a scammer. So what have you got to say for yourself? Oh. Fake Ken hanging up on this call says it all, but at least we have got him. He's happy enough to steal your money, but a coward for not speaking to us. From what we've learned, please don't send a deposit, don't send the money. Stand in front of that car, no matter how far away it is, see it, pay the money, and then drive the car away there and then. I hate to think people are being ripped off, but please, if you've got any stories like this, drop us a message. We need to keep doing this, but see you next Tuesday maybe?
Yeah.
Who knows?